The universe has asked me today to share some wisdom with the brothers and sisters of the earth. More often than not, that high-pitched ringing that you hear in your ears, your left ear, your right ear, or both at the same time, it's always regarded as tinnitus, and it's dismissed as such. But that is one form of divine transmission in the form of solfeggio frequencies. These are high-pitched light language activation codes that are sent from the divine through your heart to your soul. There are no cosmic messages sent to the mind. Just want to make that clear. Everyone seems to think that your physical mind is your only connection to God, to the universe, to the cosmos. When you meditate, the pineal gland, the third eye, you're meditating with your mind. It's not true. None of it's true. You are not the body. The earth is not your home. The physical mind belongs to the physical body, which belongs to this physical illusionary projection. You are not a physical being. You transcend that limitation. So this whole notion of you thinking that your physical mind, which is locked inside, basically a prison of bone and marrow, which is comprised mainly of water and adipose, is somehow your direct link to Creator. It's not true. So what happens is the darkness knows this, which is God, and it exploits this weakness because it wants to make you a better spirit, better soul, better entity, better form of energy. It's always a perpetual process. We are all a work in progress. So when you hear a high-pitched ringing in your ear, you're like, oh, it's just tinnitus. Maybe when I was younger, I listened to loud music. And science always dismisses it as such because that's what science does. Science always dismisses everything universal. If you ask science about the universe, they will give you their explanation of what the universe is. And don't you ever dare think otherwise. Don't ever question us. How dare you counter our argument, or do not take at face value at what we say is the absolute gospel, the edict, the law, the rule. You must ascribe to our ideologies, our theories, our principles, our conjecture, our hypothesis. Don't ever question science. That's what they want you to think. Science is the matrix. So that's why everybody goes, it's science. Science knows best. How dare you ever question it? What do you know? You're just a mere peasant. Science has all the answers. Science doesn't have any answers. Science just finds things that it had nothing whatsoever to do with the creation of, and it assigns nomenclature and appellations to it. It names them, and it gives them processes and systems and filters and, equations and formulas. Oh, it does this, the process of this, photosynthesis, or light travels through this. To give an example of the limited intelligence of science, they give you drawings and diagrams of what an atom looks like. Protons, electrons, the nucleus, all that stuff. But yet, they've never seen one. They don't have the technology great enough to view an atom. But yet, here you go. They give you a full-blown diagram, exactly what it looks like, in color, the whole 9 yards, but they've never seen one. I mean, if that isn't pretentious, I don't know what is. Not only did you have nothing whatsoever to do with the creation of the atom, but you haven't even visually seen one, but yet you're giving us a detailed drawing and diagram, and we're supposed to hold this as the gospel. That's what I'm trying to say. Your entire life, you've been lied to. You've been lied to. So when you hear these high-pitched ringings in your ear, don't dismiss them as tinnitus. Or, maybe you were walking past the construction site or listening to loud music in your car, or a really loud conversation, and it's a residual effect of that. It's the cosmos trying to send you signals. And in those signals are messages and codes. Within, for example, if you're familiar with light language activation that's spoken by individual people, they all have their own language. It isn't universal like Spanish or English. So that's why it seems alien to people. It seems like a made-up space language, but it's not. It's a language that the soul understands. not the physical mind, because the physical mind is basically clueless to what's going on. It's just a lump of flesh inside your skull, and it just doesn't even know what to do. That's why the darkness, monopolizes and manipulates it so well, to the greatest degree. So much so that you honestly believe everything you're told as the absolute truth, and you don't question it. And it's analogous to the Stockholm Syndrome, that you will defend the Matrix with cognitive dissonance ad hominem and everything that you can, because this is basically your mother and father. These are your parents. That's why so many people roll up their sleeves and take the poke, and they just do it with blind faith, but they don't even know what's in that stuff. They don't even question it. Just roll up your sleeve, because you've been programmed to trust this institution of madmen and demons and liars. It's the same thing that holds true with the ringing in your ears. What happens is the ego, which is a conduit for the darkness, works in tandem with external negative dark forces. Now, once that happens, they also begin to exacerbate your inner demons, which begin to work in tandem with them and to push you off a positive path. Now, once these divine transmissions come in, the ego, which is the darkness, basically disintegrates them. It basically captures them and prevents them from going to the heart. It just basically circumvents that process, and it intervenes. And almost like if somebody was transmitting radio signals to you and somebody intercepted that and they captured it. So therefore, you're going to be clueless as to what's going on. So what's happening is the ego captures these divine transmissions, these solfeggio frequencies, and brings it into the darkness of the physical mind. And it just disintegrates it, because the darkness doesn't want you to receive these programmed codes. And I say program codes because it has already been specifically designed by the cosmos. Not necessarily a program in the sense like a computer program or a social program. It varies quite differently. I only use the word program for you to understand what I'm saying. But these embedded codes are in these streams of energy, these channels of frequencies, which are solfeggio frequencies, high-pitched frequencies, divine transmissions. They are intercepted, and then they are just destroyed, because the darkness doesn't want you to have something that's going to be for the betterment of your soul and the progress of your journey. It just doesn't want it to be. So you're going to always misconstrue that high-pitched ringing in your ears as tinnitus, and you're just going to dismiss it. And with it goes all of these celestial treasures. So therefore, you're missing out. And the darkness, in doing so, keeps you blinded to the reality of the cosmos. By this I mean, you are continually immersed in a sea of darkness, that you are blinded to the reality of the light. Everything you think that doesn't exist in your reality, it does. The only reason why you can't see it is because you're not relying on the entity or the force that allows you that vision to view it and observe it. Imagine your imagination as you would a very special pair of magical glasses, that once you put them on, it enables you to see things that had always been there all along, but you were incapable of seeing without them, because you're kept blind by the matrix. So your imagination is an unlimited, transformative, powerful tool of limitless potential that you're not accessing, you're not utilizing, and you're not implementing in your life. You're basically going on autopilot, but the problem is your autopilot was programmed by the matrix, so it's going to always take you in the destination where it wants you to go, and that's always down the dead-end road. So when these divine transmissions come in, they are intercepted, they're disintegrated, and they're diffused, and they are just absolutely destroyed. So there you go. You'll just be walking around not knowing that the universe has been trying to get in contact with you forever. But once you begin meditating and not with your mind, all of this begins to fall away. You begin to question the narrative. You begin to dissect what's going on. You begin to become very mistrusting of the system. There's no more trust there. You're like, wait a minute, I think I'm being lied to. I don't know what's going on here, but I have a sense that something doesn't feel right. That is the angelic realm speaking through you, through your intuitive self, that they're finally being able to chisel through that impenetrable wall of delusional psychosis that has been built up through the egocentric reality of your primordial imagination, which is your synthetic imagination. Divine consciousness is one hemisphere, demonic unconsciousness is the other. And those two hemispheres put together, and they must be put together, form spherical consciousness. Spherical consciousness is comprised of an organic imagination and the synthetic imagination, to which the synthetic imagination offers you experiences in the physical reality through your five senses, which is always limited. Organic, natural imagination is metaphysical in nature and in essence. That's where your intentions, aspirations, and dreams come from. Your feelings and emotions, all of these things are metaphysical elements, but they just vibrate in certain frequencies. Some of them are very vulnerable and susceptible to the darkness, like your feelings and emotions, and your intentions and your visions and dreams are not. So you must get in conscious contact with the fact that everything has to be in alignment in order for you to properly receive divine transmissions in the form of solfeggio frequencies, divine synchronicities, which will allow you to know that you are now actively engaging in the course and direction where you should be. Evidence of your alignment will come in the form of divine synchronicities, augury messages, signs, symbols, signals, harbingers, omens. They will all be there, right there. You just have to be consciously aware enough and elevated enough in your enlightenment, in your awareness, to be able to recognize, receive them, observe them, and understand them. Because other than that, you're going to be like at a red light, and the person in front of you, their license plate is just going to be a license plate. You're not going to realize that the universe is trying to communicate to you through that message. Look at the license plate number, or a sign on a wall, or maybe something you're reading, or a piece of music, or some lyrics that they send to you. Oh, by the way, nothing just pops in your head. Music, like one of your favorite songs from 20 years ago, all of a sudden out of nowhere, you just hear the lyrics in your head. It doesn't happen like that. Your angels are trying to get you to understand there's something within that lyrical content that is of a significant importance to you at that confluence in your journey. Or it could be something else. Perhaps you're having a memory of your childhood, but they want you to revert to that moment in time for a specific reason that will help you at the moment you are right now. Or anything it could be. It could be a penny on the ground, feathers, numbers, signs, signals, music lyrics, anything, any which way they can, effectively get you to wake up. Because there are no inspirational thoughts that just come to you. Everything is sent to you from the divine, and the same shall be said about destructive thoughts, like hurting yourself, hurting others. Those are all sent from the divine. They're giving you a choice. You either want to hurt yourself and others, or you want to heal others and yourself, because that's what it is. We have an unlimited power, and we could do whatever we want with it. We could build, we could destroy. We can heal, we can hurt. We can be affectionate and kind, or cruel and cold. So just know that ringing in your ear should never be just immediately dismissed as tinnitus. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it is an actual physical damage. But more often than not, if you're just sitting around watching TV, all of a sudden you hear the high-pitched ringing, it goes for a couple of seconds, then it's gone. That's either a loved one that has crossed over, trying to communicate with you, your angels, your spirit, your guides, your guardians, or somebody. Some intelligent entity is attempting to establish communication with you. They're basically telling you, hey, look over here. I'm trying to get your attention. Imagine the dilemma of spirits. Check this out. Suppose that you're in a room, a crowded room with hundreds of people, but you are invisible and you are silent to them. Now, how do you get their attention, let alone convey a message? And that is the dilemma of spirit. That's why they do things in very subtle manners, but they don't want to scare you. If something is done in a manner to which it scares you, always know that's evil, because evil induces the very fears from which it feeds, because the darkness has no power. So if something is scaring you, it's deliberately doing that. That means it is of a malevolent nature. But then again, everything is God, so everything is good. But that high-pitched ringing in your ear, don't just dismiss it as, tinnitus, or I was listening to music when I was a kid, it's probably ear damage. No, it's a form of communication from a higher level of consciousness. saying to you, there's something you need to know right now. We're trying to get your attention. We're trying to make you aware of something. There's something you haven't addressed. There's something that you've been putting off, that you've been pushing aside. Perhaps you're procrastinating. You're deliberately making things harder or dragging things out, or you don't even want to get started on a project. And the universe is not going to give up on you. Only you will give up on yourself. So I just wanted to share that with everyone today. So God bless. Namaste. Amen. It's all beautiful. You are always loved. You are never alone. And remember, all of your darkness is behind you and your road ahead is divine. For as long as you truly choose to embrace the light that is inside your heart, your mind, and your soul. Amen.